Hey guys, Tighebo here. We are finally back with more Expect the Unexpected, Chapter 6. We now have thumbnails for this little series. This one. Not the other one. Not for Five Nights at Harry's. We haven't figured that one out yet. But we have got one for Expect the Unexpected. Anyway, we are now on Chapter 6. Chapter 5, go watch it. But, just to summarize, in case you've forgotten what happened, it was night 3. Ruby came back. Freddy got some action, I think. Maybe a little bit, not too much. Golden Freddy definitely got in action. She's now traumatized. Foxy's on strike. And, we got a little more interest history of maybe why the animatronics do what they do, I guess. Yeah. And, what else? Ruby, the animatronics did not set off all the traps, so the cleaners now have to watch out, so. Let's see if anyone activates it. So, we're chapter 6, and we're on the day shift. Let's get started. Ruby rolled over at the sound of her phone ringing and gave it a sleepy glare. Reaching her hand out, she answered it irritably without checking caller ID. What? She growled. Does that sound like a growl? I don't know. There was a moment's silence before a shaky voice appeared. Afternoon, Ruby. Her manager's voice came through. Manager? She mumbled sleepily. Yes, he answered quickly. What are you calling for? It's still daylight, so I can't be late for my shift. She leaned her head back into the nice soft pillow that was calling her back to dreamland. Such a nice dream, too, filled with exploding cookies. Sorry to disturb you, Ruby, but I had no other choice. The day guard called in sick. There's no one else to replace him, he explained nervously. It took Ruby's sleepy brain a moment to process this. So you want me to cover it? She deduced. Yes, you'll be paid overtime, of course, he assured her. Sure, why not? It'll be nice to terrorize the staff instead of the bots for once, she smirked. Ah, yes, we get to terrorize the staff this time. Okay. Yes, well, see you in half an hour. He hung up. Good call, good call. Ruby sat up and stretched. She'd have to hype up on sugar and caffeine for the night, but she should be fine. Getting dressed quickly, she bounced down the stairs 2 at a time and grabbed something sugary from the kitchen. Ricky was in the living room playing with some action figures when she ran out the door. Ruby, he asked, looking up at her. Where are you going? Gotta cover some guy's shift. He got him sick, she explained. The boy's face morphed into a frown. But you said you spent time with me today when you woke up, he whined. Wait, that did not sound like a whine. But you said you'd spent time with me today when you woke up, he whined. Was that better? I feel like that was better. Okay. Whew. She paused and looked over at him. I know. Oh wait, that's not right. I know. I'm sorry, Squirt. Can't leave them in the lurch. Like this, though. Let me get up to you, okay? She smiled at him. He huffed in annoyance for a moment before nodding. She chuckled lightly and waved at him. See you, Ricky. It was a busy day, Freddy, so the animatronics didn't dwell on their night guard problem much. You probably shouldn't have done that. At least until she walked through the front door. Dressed in blue jeans and a yellow t-shirt with a sugar-covered donut jammed into her mouth, she was juggling a cup of steaming coffee as well as her rather full backpack, which seemed to be defying her every attempt to get back up on her shoulder. Ah, Ruby! The manager walked up to her quickly and forced a smile. Thank you for coming in. Mm-hmm. The night guard mumbled something around the food and nodded her head, glaring at her backpack. Well, you can settle in the office and then just keep an eye on things? He asked. She nodded again and headed off in the direction of the office, still struggling with her bag and coffee. "What's she doing here?" Bonnie hissed to Freddie while Chica just glared in annoyance. "Looks like she's covering the day shift," Freddie mumbled, frowning. "The afternoon guard called in sick, remember?" "Ugh, there's no one else to call?" Bonnie rubbed his face in despair. "She's going to drive us nuts." Surprising, though, for the first hour she stayed in the office and left the bots alone. They caught their first glimpse of her out of the office at 2. Bonnie groaned as she walked into the room and tried to distract himself with the kids, clamoring for his attention. "Where's your night guard cap?" one of the other employees asked, however, and he glanced over. She really wasn't wearing it, and now that he thought about it, she hadn't been wearing it all week. He glanced at her. He glanced in confusion at Freddie, who shrugged, obviously having come to the same realization. Ruby eyed the man in annoyance. "Someone's going to get himself killed." "It's purple," she stated, as if that explained everything. "So?" the man, who clearly had a death wish, asked. The agreed bit was me, just so you're aware. She turned to face him fully, crossing her arms. "I don't like purple. It's not my color." "It's part of the uniform," the man argued. "You've got to wear it." She laughed and stepped closer. "I'd love to see you make me, buddy. Might break your arm, though. I don't wear it if I don't like it." The poor man floundered around for a moment before he stilled himself further to argue his point. Luckily, Jerry swept in to save the idiot. "Thank God for Jerry. He's this man's hero, even though he doesn't know it. Here, Ruby. It's a bit improvised, but it should work just fine." He smiled shakily at her while pushing the other man away slightly. Clever man. Jerry just grinned brightly. "Thanks, Jerry. It's fine." She took the offered simple black hat that had the company's logo pinned to it and jammed it down on her head. "Well, I better get going. Supposed to be doing guard things after all." She waved at him, now completely ignoring the other man. "Are you stupid?" Jerry hissed at the man when she was out of the room. He then proceeded to scowl the man for provoking the unstable night guard. "Huh. She doesn't like purple," Freddie mused. "A night guard would taste in color, then." Bonnie stayed quiet. He never liked the fact that his fur was the murderer's favorite color, after all. Slightly depressed now, he moved towards some kids to do his entertaining job. There was a lull in activity in Pirate's Cove, so Foxy was taking a moment's break. He looked around at the room and smiled slightly. It really was a pirate's paradise. I feel like this Freddy Fazbear is much different to the one in the games. Like, it sounds so big, especially Pirate Cove, I swear to God. A large replica of a pirate ship stood in the center of the room, and it was surrounded by a sea of plastic balls. The walls were painted to give the illusion of blue sky and sandy islands. There was also a large amount of pirates' props all over the place for kids to play with. "Wow, I haven't been in here for years," a voice whistled from the doorway. Surprised, he turned around to see the grinning night guard. "What are you doing here, lass?" he asked, curiously. "Manager asked me to cover the day shift since the guy called in sick." She walked further in, looking around with a nostalgic expression. "Bet the others weren't impressed when they saw ya," he chuckled. "Nope," she smirked. "But I'm not here at the animatronic business. I'm here on people babysitting." He laughed at the description. Having an employee come up and speak to him willingly was actually a rather enjoyable feeling. "I thought that maybe you'd be the only animatronic not likely to growl at me if I started a conversation." She looked at him out the corner of her eyes, her posture possibly relaxed. "Probably," he admitted. "I've got no problem with you being here, lass." Her smile was almost blinding. "Thanks." It's because she loves him. He's our hero. And he's our favorite, I think. I don't know if she mentioned that before in the story, but if she didn't, Foxy's her favorite. And it sounded like she meant it. But don't worry, I won't bother the animatronics. They had enough of me last night, I think. If anything, I'll be driving the staff crazy instead. Logic. Okay. He chuckled again as he watched her walk around, looking at everything with that expression still on her face. So, you were in here a lot? He asked. She smiled back at him. Yeah, my parents had to drag me out every time we visited. Foxy looked thoughtful as he tried to think of which kid she was. She laughed at his expression. I was the kid who broke her arm, falling off the mast after she thought it was a great idea to climb. Stop, she explained. Foxy gasped at her. You're that little spitfire? You drove the staff crazy with your antics. Actually, it kind of makes sense now that I think about it. He laughed again as he remembered the little girl. She was always getting into trouble one way or another. And she had been back Powder Cove Castle the week after her fall, as if nothing had happened. You were my favorite back then. Oh, here we go. Now we hear. Her eyes glazed over a bit as she thought back. Still are. She smirked at his shocked expression. You think some homicidal behavior is going to change that? She grinned, and he shook his head to feet. You really are something, Ruby, he grinned, the fond feelings he had for the girl rising back to the surface as she smiled as she smiled that now very familiar cheeky smile. Ah, that's cute. It's cute. She had been his favorite then too. Remember the sword fight? She asked suddenly. Yeah. His grin widened. She was a fantastic swordswoman at 7. Just about gave my mom a heart attack that day. I asked for a real sword for my upcoming birthday. Her smirk turned just a bit devious. I'm probably the only kid in the world who can say that I had that wish come true. She figured if she didn't give it to me, I'd find a way to get my hands on one anyway. I believe you, he laughed. You are a determined lass. Still are. He sobered a bit and looked at her critically. Why are you so determined to stick around, Ruby? He asked. Her expression turned thoughtful. I guess originally I thought great to see you guys again. After that, you guys don't seem as happy as you were back then. His eyes widened. Bonnie looks a lot better when he's actively running around instead of sneaking all over the place, don't you think? Yeah, things have been more exciting since you showed up. They're stubborn though, so they won't see it. Foxy shrugged one shoulder. Well then, I'll just out-stubborn them. Her eyes sparkled as she headed back to the doorway. I'd better get back to my job. Thanks for the talk, Foxy. It's great to see you again. Yeah, lass, it is. He smiled softly at the empty room once she was gone. And I don't doubt that you can get through to them. I hope you don't get hurt for your trouble, though. With that, he turned to the group of children that were just entering the code. His thoughts still heavily on Ruby. The night guard was just recharging on coffee in the kitchen when Bonnie walked in to pick up a pizza for one of the tables. The kitchen staff shivered at the glare he shot the girl, but she seemed oblivious, alternating between the coffee and biting into a chocolate chip cookie. As he stalked past her to get the pizza, she smirked at his back. Afternoon, Bunny, she chirped, as everyone in the room paled in shock. The night guard just spoke to an animatronic. They really hoped that there wouldn't be bloodbath in the kitchen. Bonnie, on the other hand, just growled at her as he turned around with the pizza in his hand. There was a moment of tense silence as the two stared each other down, but it was broken by a sudden bang. The sound, now very familiar to the two, caused them to turn around in confusion. One of the staff members had backed up too quickly and bumped into the counter behind him. Trying to regain his balance, he had grabbed at the frying pan above him. That, however, had set off one of her leftover traps. Ah, the leftover traps that were mentioned. The poor man was now covered in cream. No one was even sure how the trap had worked. Ruby had started laughing, of course. I forgot about that one. I just tried to cheek in the kitchen before she set up my cream frying pan prank. This is brilliant, though. She curled into herself as she laughed. Bonnie rolled his eyes and turned to leave. Unknown to the rest of the room, however, he was trying to keep his own laughter stifled. It was a good prank. Not that she had to know that he thought that. Ruby downed her coffee as this creamed employee made a grab for her and darted around the table. Digging in her bag, she produced 3 cookies and tossed them like a frisbee. 3 bangs later, the kitchen had been streamed, and Ruby was laughing manically as she escaped. "What?" she called back. "Thought the bots were the only ones I was going to bother?" Luckily for her, the staff wasn't as familiar with the vent system as she was. Bonnie took a moment to collect himself in a side hallway before taking the pizza into the room. However, for some reason, he felt like his mood had improved since that morning. Yay! We made Bonnie happy! Yay! Okay, moving on. Ruby spent a lot of the afternoon terrorizing the staff. The people that laughed the pranks off and enjoyed her energetic attitudes found that they had fun. The people that found them and her irritating suffered, though. Exploding biscuits, glitter bombs, there was a tripwire across the staff bathroom entryway. Now you step over it, buddy. And she covered the floor in peanut butter. Okay, that might be a hazard, because allergies. People might need allergic to peanut. Henry complained, wiping said peanut butter off his face. Jerry chuckled. "She's just having fun, Henry." The other men muttered profanities as the two moved through one of the rooms. The kids, however, found these sudden jokes and traps hilarious, and Ruby seemed to have recruited a bunch of them to help in her missions. It turned out that she was a hit with the kids. They loved her random behavior, and she led them on many a mission that day. It wasn't just mischief that she was good at with, though, and that surprised a lot of people, and bots. A tearful child grabbed onto Ruby's pant leg and looked up at her. "Miss Security Guard?" he asked hesitantly. She looked down, immediately styling away the glitter mine in her hand. Her sudden change from sadistic prankster to concerned security guard threw the nearby employees and bots off balance. "Yes, sweetie? Is something wrong?" She wiped the tears from the boy's face. "I can't find my mommy." He hiccuped slightly. He looked only about 5 years old. "Shh, honey, shh. It's alright. We'll go look for me right away, okay?" She smiled gently at him. Still teary-eyed, he nodded his head. "Alright, now, I'm sure you can't see anything from down there, so how about a lift?" She smiled mischievously. Suddenly, she swept the boy off the floor and settled him on her shoulders, startling a delightful laugh out of him. "Aw, she's good with kids. It is so sweet. I love Ruby. She's awesome. I'm not a big fan of the original characters, but damn, I love Ruby. She's great." Okay. "So, how about we give you some height?" She laughed with him and started walking around, keeping an eye out for distressed mothers while he babbled about how much fun he was having. After 10 minutes of looking, she finally spotted a panicky-looking woman speaking to the manager. "Hey, sweetheart," she said, catching the boy's attention. "Is that her?" The boy followed her finger and squealed in happiness. "Mommy!" Ruby smiled and swung the boy down into her arms before heading over to the woman. "And I only looked away for a second, and then he was gone," she wailed as Ruby got closer. Oh, wait, hold on. "Ma'am?" Ruby asked to get her attention. The distressed woman turned around, her eyes zeroing in on the boys in her own. "Joshua!" she cried in relief. She watched the pair reunite for a moment, nodding at the babbled thanks before grinning at the manager and excusing herself. "These glitter mines are going to plant themselves after all," she snickered. And she's back to a prankster. Great. Finally, closing time rolled around to the relief of the employees. Ruby smiled sweetly as she left, calling out that she'd see the animatronics that night. The humans all signed of relief when she was gone. "She's impossible," one grumbled while trying to pull glittery peanut butter from his hair. "Yeah," another one answered with a grin. "But she makes things interesting." No one could argue with that. And we finally reached the end of chapter 6. That didn't seem too bad. I quite like that. And we got to see Ruby act more sides. We got the prankster one, but we also got to see Ruby be sweet, and apparently she's good with kids, which is nice. So, and we got to see her terrorize the humans instead of the animatronics this time around, which is yay! And we got sweet moments with Bonnie and Foxy. They were adorable. So yeah. I forgot to mention this at the beginning, I just realized, but if you want to follow this story along, you could go in the description below. And if you want to continue reading, description, go ahead, read. This is good. Yeah. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, leave a like. Be sure to subscribe. Comment down below if you want to see more of this. Or maybe if you want me to continue doing Five Nights at Harry. Just a warning, those videos are probably going to be very long because chapters are super long. Anyway, also be sure to follow me on Twitter. Link for that in the description below. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with a new video. Bye!